awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Happy TGIF. It is options expiry day. Heading into the weekend, which means, oh boy, here we go, crypto. Actually, I was encouraged to see crypto firming up a bit overnight, so I think we've maybe dodged the bullet. It almost feels like that dump following that event was almost like orchestrated. The market was just too heavy on the long side. Let's go just run a whole crap load of stops, generate a whole bunch of liquidation revenue for these crypto exchanges. I did see news earlier today. Binance guys are in hot water. Typical crypto. Who can screw as many people over as much of the time as possible? Well, welcome to crypto. The interesting thing about crypto, of course, is that if you actually believe in the crypto story, then you go and buy these ideas and just take them right off of these exchanges and don't get messed up in the leverage trading. If you do fancy yourself a trader, well, then build a trading plan all around trading whatever particular leverage product you're interested in. And obviously vet out risk management strategies that set you up for the least amount of anxiety that you are as a trader. And get in there and trade setups. And actually, if you trade setups in this kind of environment, I think you do really, really well. In fact, we were talking about that through the daily brief today. The chaosness, it's kind of funny how I ran into that term recently. But the chaosness around the year 2020, to me, I saw the exact same thing. I was a broker through the 2000 Jupiter Saturn cross, and it's fascinating to watch how the humans just they actually change their natural behavior. During that 2000 peak, I suppose you could make the argument that that was a greed cycle, and so everything was about growth. And here we are in a fear cycle, and everything's about end of the world. Saw even people posting on social media today that they found book references to like 50 years ago, 60 years ago about predictions about 2020 and killer viruses developed by governments. And, the amount of replies to all this was like, wow, this is incredible. It's totally coming true. Yeah, run for the hills. And then you find out shortly later after, actually somebody copied a book that was all written about Russia doing all this nonsense back during the Cold War. And they just cut and paste the dates and the names, take out Russia, put in China. And it just goes to show how frail this human species is and how easily we can be manipulated. And, I do believe, call me crazy, that, this is a big function of what's going on celestially and how does that affect us silly little humans on planet Earth. So, wow, there's a rant to start your day. In 30 years of trading, I'll tell you this, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you can see the chaos in the market right now. Classic fear and greed proxies are disconnecting. Volatility is just absolutely through the roof. And, of course, whenever you have gold and bonds moving up together, to me, that's sort of saying, look, we just want to get out of everything and go into nice, safe, secure things that we think are going to stick around if hell breaks loose. I was mentioning yesterday that Julian had been talking in his room about wanting to be short stocks, and I think, M's and W's, pretty obvious. We got a pretty good-looking signal there. I didn't necessarily take this trade because actually I'm wrapped up in the long side of the market, and I'm actually finding lots and lots of really cool stocks to buy that are just going nuts here. And what I think is actually happening here is this, and I've heard a lot of fund managers and sort of talking heads, that there seems to be a rotation going on here out of the big high fly and high growth, China leverage technology plays. I think if I'm not mistaken, Amazon's getting taken apart today. I haven't really looked. AMZN. Boom. Only down $51 on the day, which is only a 2.5% move. But and then, geez whiz, what letter of the alphabet can you see there, right? So, do we have a period like this for Amazon where maybe it's got to cool down, fill in all these gaps and just calm down a little bit? Could be. I mean, I'm not really doing anything in this space. And of course, a $2,000 stock, what do you think the options are going to be? They're ridiculously high priced. So I can't even look at something like this. But interestingly enough, kind of like what I just showed you there a moment ago, I think here's a good example. This is a deep, deep value name. And of course, interest rates, the irony of it all is I was looking for interest rates to head up and I was spot on. And then something changed. The coronavirus, I don't know. But technical levels hit, maybe, I don't know. But I remember we were looking at this W going, oh, should I get out of here? Should I get out? There go the bonds. But I think more importantly, there's a bigger thing going on here. And that is that if we look at the interest rate environment, what I'm hearing from a lot of people is they were humming and hawing about whether interest rates were going to bottom here. Like I said, I thought they were heading higher, but the market told me, sorry, Brian, you're wrong. And now we've actually confirmed this M, which sort of sets up like a bot setup. You can think of A, B, C, Ds. So if we do something along those lines, and I don't even know if I haven't gotten to the chart deck today. That I've been doing really weird daily brief today, but I think the site members really enjoyed it. Brian, oh, look at that. So A, B, C, D, and of course our chaos levels. I got a pretty good hunch that bonds are heading up in earnest here, which means interest rates are heading down. And if that's the case, then the whole sort of notion of value stocks that are maybe carrying debt like these guys are in the retail business, furniture industry. Ooh, how sexy is that? But trading at very, very low valuations, it can actually do relatively well. And our simple rule is first W on the other side of trend lines is buy signal. So I went and bought some of this. The actual technical breakout level here is going to be a move through 144 there even, setting today's high is 144 even. But hopefully you can see the nice little clothesline. If we close above, what is that? I guess 133, then we get a bit of a buy signal there. And this also is a nice gap and go. So if we gap and go through these highs on Monday morning, she's off. And I don't know, what do you think? Does he have any kind of room to move up here? Keep in mind, this is just from last winter. If I can get like a move just to fill in this gap here, that's 4x on my money. Well, let's call it 3. I'll be generous. I mean, I'll take a double. If I can get a move back to the 50% rule, that's 7x on my money. Or not 7x, it's that's about 5x, 4x. But it's a 7.25 if I just simply risk reward. If I just simply say, look, and I'm going to buy against the low end of this range, and I'm just going to risk to them breaking this thing to new lows. So, and actually, wow, now it's an 8-1. So, internals, I love this. Look at this RSI divergence. Wow. And actually, I don't even know why I'm talking about this today. I'm not even supposed to be talking to you guys about this. Crazy, Brian. All right, let's get back to what I'm supposed to be doing with you guys. US dollar index, we always start off with this, a good proxy for sort of greed and fear in the marketplace. We had Fed announcers come out today talking a little bit about broader economy. Heard them saying things like don't have any plans to change interest rates. They're happy with where they are. If situation warrants, they will act, that kind of talk. It's interesting how we talked about this chaos level there the other day, and I had said I often see that the market will actually shoot above it and then come back. And remember, they left a gap at that chaos theory level. So, gee whiz, what a surprise. Here we are coming right back to that chaos level. And I think that this is actually short-term support. Also, too, remember, like currency traders, like pit traders, they often love just simply selling against new highs. So, here, for example, they would just simply sell that and notice the market backed off a little bit. It did go shooting higher, but it did come back down. And even here, this is a perfect example, right? Market shoots up, they sell up here. They take a bit of heat, but indeed they had the right idea. Same thing here. They buy this low. They took a couple ticks of heat, but then idea works here. Here you can, it's just over and over and over and over. So here you can see a sell here and the trade works. So, sometimes it can happen in a day. Look at this. If you were that trader dude and you had your order right here and you got filled and then it finished that day, you'd think you'd walked on water. Point of the matter here is we did break a pretty significant high, so it shouldn't surprise us that there's going to be some traders coming in and actually selling that. As I had sort of said, chaos level, I kind of get the feeling, and probably if we look at things like, what do you think the odds are Willie's overbought in this kind of scenario, right? RSI is deeply did I say over? Yeah. RSI is deeply overbought, that kind of stuff, right? Stochastics, all those kind of oscillators. And then also, too, at any given point in time, if you see a market just going absolutely insane, you should always ask yourself, okay, where is 38.2? And, the just simple rule is really, if this is if it's a bull market, then actually it should come back and just test that 38.2 just as sort of a natural cleanup. And ironically enough, it does this, and Bitcoin kind of just did this. We'll see in a minute. But sometimes you actually see, quick snaps down, then like an inside bar, and then it starts working its way back up. And all we've done is just created a trading range. So I get the feeling that's kind of what's going on right now. If we look at things like the euro, we've talked lots about this. Really dangerous market to be trading. Especially for like new people to trading. Oh boy, you're just going to get your butt handed to you here. I think, if you are interested, you have to let this thing settle down. That was a new low yesterday, dead cat bounce. Interesting, they're just filling in gaps. Same sort of logic here. We could just say, okay, if this is a bear, where's actually a natural bounce point? Well, that's all the way up to 109. Remember I had said yesterday, I don't know whether really trading this is such a good idea for new people to trading. Very difficult down here. But really what's going on is they're just filling in this gap from forever ago. So if you want to invest in euros, actually, believe it or not, basically all the market did was it just backed up to this original W. I don't think this gap is filled yet, though, so that leads me to believe that we're probably not done here just yet. We might have to go through something like this. This is going to take some time to tell us that, yep, it's bottomed and we're heading back up. And as I've sort of said, ironically enough, if I get a really violent rally back in here, then that actually sets up a new short for me. So that's probably what I'm going to be watching for now. I don't know how big this is going to be, but maybe it's something like a bot setup, something like that, where I can get short down the road and be playing AB equals CDs to fill in that gap in earnest. Probably something along those lines. Well, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Point of the matter here is I think that the currencies probably went a little too far there. They just, they were just throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. And now we're just getting a bit of backfilling. Risk on, risk off. As I had sort of said earlier, Julian was talking to the site about shorting stocks. We actually looked at the S&P 500 put options, and the big floor I think is at like 130 or 330. So even now they still have some wiggle room, but I think the best place where they make the most money is if they take this out at, I think, at like 340 area. So I'm just sort of there's nothing really for me to do here right now. You can see how messy this looks. Look at all this mess, right? But at the same time, too, V-top, they left a gap here just even this morning. When I look at a chart like this is just chop Vegas. If anything, I got to leave this alone. Just don't touch it. And the irony of it all is that we've got stocks. When I woke up this morning, I wake up to the TRI lounge and people are like, woohoo, look at me doubling my money. yeah, I'm the man. It's like, there's a bear market? Stock market's going down? What's going on here? Remember I told you, SRAX, I told you this guy, stock market's going down. What's going on? Not for us. And then, of course, anybody who took that damn gold trade, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So, ironically enough, we're not even seeing this at TRI right now, which I find hilarious. It's almost a bit spooky, really, honestly. Because, I go out into the public and everybody's like crying in their beers right now. And I'm like, well, really? Oh, this is nuts. I swear. So, risk on, definitely off. Risk off, going absolutely bananas. Market pretty much told Brian, you were wrong about your higher interest rate thesis. Eat it. This one trend line I think was really helpful for us. So, and if you were interested in playing the long side of the market, like I said, that actually set up a little bit of a bullish bot. I don't really like that trade. In fact, I don't like it at all because I would actually make the argument all we've done here is still just playing at this reload zone. So, I mean, I did throw some money at a short here. I was just so pleased with myself, and then I completely fucked the trade up. But, hey, shit happens. But it's fascinating. All we're doing is we're just sitting at a reload short zone level. So, and notice there are some gaps up top here. We could very easily be actually finding a top here in the bonds. Those sort of stocks are freaking out right now. So, I'm not doing anything with bonds here. Too late to buy and too early, I think, to sell. I am long the gold, and we sort of talked through the bot setup of this. I didn't trade the gold itself like I showed you on the screen there a moment ago. I'm doing this through the gold stocks. And, I've told you, I've sort of demonstrated this to you before. I could trade, and I don't think this is going to load here. Let's do it over here. Nope, let's do it over here. There we go. I could trade the gold itself, and I could trade it on leverage. And Julian's having a great old time doing that. I look at the numbers and I go, you know what? That's not bad. 1.8% move on the day. If you trade some leverage, way to go. It's interesting how we come into a chaos level and this bot level here, and really that was a pretty well-defined bot, wasn't it? It's move stop to scratch. Move stop to trailing level now. So if this little chaos level here is it for gold, which I doubt it, it's probably just another consolidation setting up the next leg. But if this is the top, then, anybody who did take this bot, start moving stops on structural failure, that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised to see 1,700 here. That wouldn't shock me one bit. Do we have to reload here before the next leg? Tough to say. But anyway, shake it. Anybody who did, trade this, it's pretty simple. AB equals CD. Right in here. If anybody did take this, I think at the very least you're not going to lose. You should actually, pretty much you're guaranteed to make money. Of course, guarantee, that's a tough word to say in this business. But my hunch is we're probably heading up top here. Point I was trying to make here was 1.8%. That's not bad. Or you could trade these crazy leveraged ETF products. And this one's like probably the highest octane one you could possibly find. And on an up day in gold, 1.8%. This guy's got a almost 9% move on the day, which is a bit silly. But nonetheless, as you can see, and actually I think what I'm going to do on this trade is break it into two parts, where I've got two different bots working, and they're both basically the same level. So what I'm going to do, just sort of demonstration. A lot of my trades, actually, I like to just try and demonstrate stuff. So in this one, I'm going to break the trade into two, and I'm going to assume half of the trade is this little bot. And so if we do hit that level, then I will take profits on half of that part of the trade. And notice that the move stop to scratch level, which is what I like to do anyway, on remaining, that's also that same level. So I'm going to take partial profits at this initial objective, which is a 3-to-1, pretty respectable. And try and ride the remaining position off of this. The great part about it, move stop to scratch, is you can see the scratch level is basically the same, and just ride the other half to sort of show you how you can sort of manage two different bots simultaneously off of one trade. Problem with this here is you have to be careful if you're going to do things like crypto and leverage products and stuff like that, because if you start actually exiting positions and stuff like that, then your exchange starts changing your margin numbers and stuff. So just be forewarned. That's not really an issue here in the stock market, and of course I just own shares. So really cool demonstration though of just simply trend following, waiting for the market to consolidate and trying to sneak your way in on the trend. Great trade. Gotta say, I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. So way to go, Brian. All right, specific ideas that we're working right now in the stock market. Like I said, woke up this morning and, it's kind of ironic because Zach and I, we run a trading plan, just the two of us, and we've got February calls that are going to expire today. The third Friday of February is options expiry. So we're kind of SOL on this trade. But I was so pleased because I kept telling everybody, this stock's got to go up. It's got to go up. It's got to go up. And like I said, a lot of people on the site were just like, woo, thank you. Way to go. Nice trade. And what kills me, I joke to you guys about how good these traders are that I have trained and built. But Mr. Show co-host, you don't hear from him. Every once in a while you hear a bling. But this son of a bitch, he went in and he bought the calls here, sold the calls here, bought the calls here, and now he just sold again. He's like trading circles around me. Bastard. But it's just so awesome. It's just great. I love it. Kavarkinator, you got a microphone. Just give me a shout out. Props to you, sir.
Thanks, man.
Way to go. Trading like a boss. So, and on the site we had lots of people on the site today saying that they did very well on this idea. So it just goes to show there's always a bull market somewhere. I mean, it's crazy how this thing works. Stock markets fall. If you turn on the TV tonight, all it's going to be is everything is red. But the irony of it all is that's not true. Here's a stock that's sort of midway for me, right in the middle stream. I've talked to you guys about this before. Wow, what a beautiful day he's having. And the cool part about this is it's so simple what we do, right? I'm not looking for new highs. I'm just looking for, 50% rules. It's not that much to ask. Still got another 50 cents to go here. So, this one, FYI, we bought down here. I've already sold half on a double. I'm laughing now, but it just goes to show there's always a bull somewhere. And, you can bot this up, and we were talking in the site. Anybody who was wanting, here's a good example where, boom, here's sort of the value trade. Right, the market's starting to trend higher. How do I get in on that trending move now? So you can see how the bots got you in right off of that 229 level pretty nicely. So anyway, long and short of it here, those people that took bots, move stop to trailing, they're kicking butt, they're laughing, and of course now we have AB equals CDs line up nicely with 50% rules, which line up nicely with gaps that like to be filled. So, have I got anything to complain about here? Nope. Pretty good day. And then, I think I already showed you this a little bit. I won't go into too much detail about this one, but I kind of like Kirksack in here. I got kicked in the Love Sack recently, so I'm not really too interested in buying him, but this is an interesting stock in that it was a TRI SOF, and actually it's come down a long way. Look how far away this thing's come down. Woohoo! Look at that, eh? And of course, in the brick and mortar retail space, so all through last year, it was all Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. Brick and mortar is going out of business. And of course, interest rates are going up. So everybody in the brick and mortar that has lots of inventory and that, of course, has overhead, they're all like, well, kind of stuff because their costs are going through the roof with rising interest rates. Now you see Amazon's kind of slipping and that high growth beta story slipping a little bit. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about coming back into value names. So it's kind of interesting that TRISOF, we actually started, buying call options down in here. What I really like to do as a technician is follow trendline breakouts. And I thought this was a really interesting one to sort of, finely tune when the hell this thing's actually going to start performing. And I like this here because we had, 1, 2, 3. The rule is if the market breaks out through the trend line, you take the first W on the other side of the trend line. So she comes back down to the trend line, and lo and behold, look at what's forming here. So I actually don't mind just going and buying this stock here, and I did. I'll risk to new lows, and that's about it's a little bit heavier risk, and it's about 50 cents worth of risk. So I'm going to Joe 6-pack risk model this. So anybody who's a TRI student, you should understand what that means. And if we lose these lows, in fact, you know what? Probably if we lose these lows, I might just walk away from the trade. But in essence, I like this W, and especially if I change this to a line chart. I really like that chart. All right. So really, ironically enough, the actual clothesline W is what is that, about 135? 134 area. At close anywhere in here, I'm more than happy to be long. Good looking stock. And also, too, that whole kind of conversation about value. I like the idea that these classic sort of brick and mortar retailers were under immense amount of pressure now that the sort of real that interest rate equation has changed. I do like the idea. I mean, I'm not looking for new highs here, right? This is, if anything, this is just nothing more than a dead cat bounce. And I think, believe it or not, I think a stock like this could easily bounce up and fill in gap up here to $4. So, all right, moving on. Holy crap, this is a long one today, eh, Kevin? Sorry, everybody, but what the hell, I'm having fun. The corn, Bitcoin, tastes great.
Tastes great.
There he is. He's just sitting there counting all his goddamn profits, son of a bitch. The picture here hasn't changed much in the past couple days. We did have a rally into key resistance. Things sort of stalled on that big auction event. I don't know whether we actually found out what the actual purchase price of those coins was, but that'd be interesting information. I did see a lot of people were kind of like, yep, I'm going to only buy at the reload zone, Brian, and so that's fine. Thank you, reload zone, that's it. I don't know whether that is the best way to look at this. Remember, the market will do any old damn thing it wants. Please remember that, everybody. Just because I say, oh, I think this is going to happen. I mean, look at the interest rates, right? Brian was completely wrong about that. And this is why we have to build plans and be risk managers, and don't put yourself into a position where you have to be right, because I guarantee you're never going to be right 100% of the time. If I'm batting 60, 70% accuracy, I'm more than happy. But that directly implies 30 to 40% inaccuracy. You must understand that, everybody. And of course, ironically enough for students, I always start every conversation with trade your setups, follow your plan. I don't care whose opinion it is, it's meaningless. Even Brian's opinion is meaningless. It's true. I mean, maybe I can help you a little bit with some of the shit that I've learned over the years, but really my opinion should not influence your trades. Anyway, having said that, um, I thought it was a good idea while we were up top here and the market kind of stalled there the other day after that auction event. Maybe let's just go strap on a hedge, and just make darn sure that if this thing does collapse, we've got some sort of downside exposure. It's not a hell of a lot, but it is a little bit of a hedge. So in a weird sort of way, because it is a hedge, I don't really mind if this trade gets busted out. It's not going to bug me one way or the other. It's just my ass is covered here just in case Bitcoin poops the bed. I could very easily see this market trade right back up into these candle body highs. You guys have heard me lots of time talk about candle body highs, closed levels of candle bodies as trade locations. So it would not surprise me one bit to see the corn right back up top here. Also, too, while we were making lower highs and lower lows, there really wasn't any reason to think otherwise. But yesterday we just kind of stopped. And I get the feeling in corn that really what happened here, and that Chico Crypto guy, I'll leave it to him to talk about these characters. He's not overly impressed with the leveraged trading of these products, and now it's really just a cash cow for a very select few people that are really corrupting the real story of crypto, which is kind of sad. And I get the feeling that this was nothing more than just a big liquidity hunt, i.e. we got to pay the bills at BitMEX, Bybit, Binance now. So let's maybe engineer some price movement. See if we can run some stops and, of course, generate fees and penalties if your account gets liquidated and stuff like that. So that's this, the sad thing is that's sort of the dark underbelly of crypto. Yeah, dark underbelly of sort of shitcoin, altcoin market is, think of cabbage coin. That is the dark underbelly. And sadly, with regard to Bitcoin and these higher sort of cap names, really the big problem, I think, is, and really a lot of people in this space have talked about it for years, the Achilles heel of crypto is these centralized exchanges. They have way too much power. They have way, and they're monetarily incentivized to do unscrupulous behavior. Not your keys, not your coins. You have to understand that. That is a brutal reality of crypto. But anyway, that aside, I'm almost feeling right now, if we're really lucky, that the crypto bull is still very much intact. I'd like to see a bullish reversal through this. If I do see that bullish reversal through this and we go up through 10,500 here on Coinbase, I think we're fine. And we'll continue to sort of work our way higher. So this is going to be a really important battle point. In a weird sort of way, you can almost kind of see just a massive, let's see if we can do this. A massive head and shoulders, all right? Sometimes the right side of the shoulder does not have to be that deep, right? And then, if it's not that deep and we do this, people will come out and say, well, this looks like a cup and handle. So, yes, I've got this short on, but I'm not Bitcoin bearish. This is really more like, man, this is a level. If you're going to be short, this is a place to be short. Not a bad idea just to strap on a hedge and just lock some prices in. And if we go up through the top, I'm more than happy to lose money on this, because then, remember, I'm long a lot of crypto and a lot of poop coins. If Bitcoin's rallying like this, does the poop coin market seem kind of happy? You tell me how poops have done over the past month or two. It's been a fun little market. Trezos? What the hell's the name of that damn thing? I mean, you can have Bitcoin double in price, which isn't bad. And actually, no, I don't even think it was a double, was it? and your treasures goes up like 10x. That's the kind of environment. I mean, I like those kind of markets. They're fun. Um, so the point of the matter here is that we actually went and put an inside bar reversal yesterday, and interestingly enough, this is actually technically a very weak, but it is a bullish sign. So I do believe for the time being that basically this is our trading range. Top of the range, bottom of the range. And really my hunch is this is basically our playground for the next little while. And of course we're coming into the weekend. It's interesting how last weekend, I think it was because of that auction, somebody specifically wanted the crypto market to act a very specific way into that event. But that's now behind us. And if this was just a big fuck you and, the crypto exchanges just screwing with their customer base, and there's nothing more that comes out of this and we actually start Wing out here, I like the idea of the market moving higher. So please don't infer that I'm some sort of big crypto bear now. I'm certainly not. But this was an appropriate level to get some shorts on, so that's basically as it is. And as you can see, that trade's just sitting there. Over the short term, probably through the weekend, I'm actually thinking we could see some more up. There's no reason why we can't. On my funny little casino, I will say this. On the daily charts, I've been telling site people that we're stuck in a moving average sandwich. This is why I use the 30 SMA, because it works very well to show where support's going to come in. This is why I use the 13 EMA, because it shows where support, once support turns into resistance, is going to come in. So I kind of think our playground is somewhere in this area through the weekend, but we'll see. We can always shoot violently beyond the moving averages in the short term. But in essence, I don't mind, and this is sort of my ideal scenario of this trade, is actually I do like the idea of the market working its way back up into reload short zones off of this range. And then we're going to actually really find out whether this actually is a bear or not. Also notice 200 SMA lines up at this chaos level, which lines up with Mountain Man. My hunch is that's going to be a pretty big battle. So that's where I'm sort of thinking over the next couple days. We'll see how it goes. And I could very easily see a nice spike right up into my original entry level. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. So that gives you an idea what I'm thinking about for the corn. And, just sort of finish this off. I was talking to you guys about a coin I was interested in. Technically, it's kind of a fun story, the porno coins. Kevin was telling me the lead developer of this guy, follow his Twitter feed. I think his name is Romano, right? Is that correct? I don't know what the Twitter handle is. Just Google, VIA developer. I think his
Yeah,
name
he's Romano.
Yeah. I don't know what his Twitter handle is, but that's here nor there. Kevin was telling me a very interesting routine. Was that it? Regiment, I think you called it. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything more. I trade technically, of course, and, the irony of it all is that I think, as long as the gentleman doesn't blow himself up, I think he is very well respected in the space, and I'm sure his idea will do really well. Technically speaking, I think I've talked to you guys. I want to just simply try and, accumulate as many of these things as we're sort of bumping along the bottom end of the range. I'm not allowed to chase as this thing's working its way up. So if I'm going to work bids, reload zones. And actually, I got kind of fortunate there the other day. And some person was sort of telling me, and I was sort of walking them through the scenario that I wanted to see happen. I said to them, I want them to shit on Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, dump that broader market, dump names like this back down into the bottom of the range, give me cheap fills, and then let this thing work its way back up. And I got to tell you, man, I think I pulled one out of my butt there. And actually, that's perfectly appropriate, isn't it? There's something about this coin and eating ass, but I'm not going to go into any more detail on that. As for the broader poop coin market, poop coin index, it seems to me it's following the same sort of logic here. If you are interested in the poop coins, I had drawn this the other day. It looks to me like we're just doing our thing here. And this is the cool part about this market. Remember, I had shown you, stock market, stock indexes are collapsing. The end of the world. Well, same sort of thing. And poop coins there, the indexes are collapsing. It's the end of the world. Well, wait a minute. Well, why did this happen then? I mean, yesterday I got off another double. Bang. And look how that rally just came out of nowhere. It's a good lesson. You better have your open orders working at your levels. Because sometimes they'll take markets in and that's it. So you better have orders working. But, the point of the matter here is you got to be sharp. You got to have your orders working. You got to be on the ball. You got to follow your plan. And, I was very fortunate. Got off a nice double on that. And, the irony of all of this is that this double win actually is exactly the same amount of risk that I'm taking on this Bitcoin short. So if this Bitcoin short fails, well, fine. We just paid for it with the what was that, NMR? I thought it was NMR. Yeah, with this NMR win. Oh, well, I suppose I can live with that. Anyway. Okay, I think that's your summary for the day. Sure hope you enjoyed the offering. Got maybe something of value out of that. Stay tuned, folks. 2020, I told you right at the beginning of this year, 2020 is going to be an absolutely insane year. It sure looks to me like it's setting up that way. All right, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.